who are the best athletes on the 49ers? Not the best football players. We've talked about that, but who are the most athletic players on that team? And we can go back and forth. We don't necessarily have to rank them, although we could, but let's list some names.
Okay. I'd like to start if it's okay with you.
Sure. All right. Well, let me just name the obvious one. We'll go with. Oh, sorry.
Yet. What I want to say is a couple of things.
Okay.
We haven't gone out with a stopwatch. Right. We haven't done, seen them lifting weights, all of that stuff. So this is just eyeballing it. Right. And in that sense, it's a completely irresponsible and really fun thing to do.
Absolutely.
If Colin Kaepernick were still on the team, I would say he'd be the best athlete.
Yeah, I'll say that with a caveat. If he was Colin Kaepernick in 2013, then yes. Back when he was 235 pounds and ran a 4.5. The last time he played, he was about 215. And I think certain teams wonder, beyond all the other stuff, when he comes back, is he going to be in the same shape he was in? I think that's part of the reason why Cam Newton got signed, is people have looked at him and see that he's in great shape. Anyway, it's possible that Kaepernick would be, yes. Okay,
you name someone you think might be among the best athletes on the team.
Well, I'll start with George Kittle. He's obvious, but he's 250 pounds. He's kind of, for a tight end, he'd be like a welterweight. Like most tight ends are 270 pounds. Like Rob Gronkowski was 270 pounds because that's how big defensive ends are, and you have to block them sometimes. Kittle can block defensive ends who are 20, 30, 40 pounds bigger than him. He also runs a 4.5 40-yard dash. That's what he ran at the combine. At 250 pounds, that's amazing. Frank Gore was 215 pounds and ran about a 4.6. So this guy runs like a wide receiver, but he's big like a defensive end, and he's extremely quick. He's everything you would want from a wide receiver at defensive end size.
I love it. I'm sold on him.
Okay.
One I would suggest is Mostert.
Yeah.
He was a track guy. Excuse me. He was a track guy. When I look at him run, it's not only that he's fast and powerful, he's graceful. He moves side to side. He eludes blocks. He sees holes. He strikes me as one hell of an athlete.
Oh, I was just reading through his Wikipedia real quick. He was more accomplished in track and field than college, than football in college. He won a bunch of events at indoor track. His personal best time in the 200-meter dash is 20.6. His personal best time in the 100-meter dash is 10.1.
Wow.
And I think there's only one person who's ever run currently in the NFL who's run a faster 100-meter dash time in college, and that's Tyreke Hill in Kansas City. So he's that fast.
10.1 is just wow.
Yeah.
I love to see that. Well, yeah, he's phenomenal. So that's who I say. Who else with you?
Okay. Arik Armstead. Arik Armstead was a basketball player at Oregon. He was a two-sport guy. So I would say him. He could play two sports. And then one more guy, real quick, Jalen Hurd. He's never actually played for the 49ers. He got hurt last year. But Shanahan said he could have got drafted as a wide receiver, a running back, or a tight end. There's not many athletes like that. He could do a bunch of different things. So I would put him. Any other guys you can think of?
Yeah, I got a wild card for you, and you wouldn't think of this. What about the left tackle?
Yeah, I was going to say him too. So he came out in the draft in 2010.
Let's give his name.
Trent Williams.
Okay.
He entered the draft in 2010, ran a 40-yard dash in 4.88 seconds at 315 pounds. That's faster than Ross Dwelley, the Niners' backup tight end. He's moving for a 315-pound guy.
Yeah, and Staley was a hell of a good athlete too.
Staley was, I think, a 200-meter sprinter champion in high school.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And it tells you about what you need at left tackle. You need not only a big lug, you need an athlete. And the Niners, God love them, understand that.
Yeah, guys who probably played tight end at one point in their life and had that kind of athleticism. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to add another theme.
Sure.
And this is maybe a little negative, so I want to be the one to do it because it's better for people to hate me than to hate you. Mm-hmm. When I was a young man and covered the 49ers, if someone had said to me, who's the best among the best athletes on the team, it was very clear to me two people I would have mentioned. Joe Montana. Joe Montana was a basketball player in high school. Mm-hmm. Joe Montana was a hell of an athlete.
Wasn't he an infielder too? Shortstop?
I don't remember. Okay. He might have been. I have never seen hand-eye coordination like that. He could move, he could run, and he was a winner. And Steve Young. Steve Young may even have been a better athlete than Joe. In fact, Bill Walsh told me that of all the quarterbacks he ever coached, Steve was the best athlete. Bill told me that. So what I'm saying is, had I in the 80s been asked this question, I would have listed the quarterbacks. I cannot list Jimmy. I admire Jimmy. I certainly admire his grit and his brilliance on third down. I think he's a quarterback, not an athlete. Now, that's okay. A lot of quarterbacks aren't great athletes. I'm just saying I don't put him in as an athlete up with Joe and Steve. As an athlete, we're not even talking quarterback. What do you think, Iggy?
I think absolutely. Jimmy's not – he's not extending. He's not mobile. He'll run around, but he's not mobile. And I think what's interesting is I asked you a couple of weeks ago, what would Bill Walsh think of Jimmy Garoppolo? Would he want Jimmy Garoppolo? I think Bill Walsh would want a better athlete at quarterback. He usually wanted guys who were a little bit faster.
I would think so, yes. I think he would want someone with a little bit more range on especially on his deep passes. Not that Bill went deep all that often. I think so, yes. And also, again, Jimmy does throw interceptions. That's an area in which he can grow in this coming season. He may refine his game, and if he does, God love him. But based on past history, Bill would be leery of that. He doesn't want to give up the ball. Bill was a very conservative coach. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. If Sid Gilman and Al Davis were bombs away down the field, Bill Walsh didn't want to do that. He was much more of a micromanager. No, let's throw the ball 6 yards because nothing bad can happen.
That's
right. It's about as safe as a run, but it's a little bit more productive.
Exactly. Right. And you may get yards after the catch. That was his whole thing. I had never heard of yak before, But with Bill, all of a sudden, everybody's talking about yak. It sounded weird. But anyway, yes. Okay. So I bring up Jimmy just as a sideline, just because I find the theme interesting.
That's interesting. Usually on a Bill Walsh team, your quarterback would be not only in the conversation, but right there as the best athlete. What about Roger Craig, Jerry Rice? Were those guys also flat out amazing athletes who could have done different sports?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Roger Craig, again, had been a Big 10 hurdler.
Right.
And what a beautiful runner, and what and he could catch, hand-eye coordination. And Jerry Rice may have been, he could have done the decathlon. And you know what I mean?
Right.
He could have done the decathlon and won a gold medal. Jerry Rice is probably the greatest athlete I've ever been around.
Wow.
I mean, come on.
Let's linger there for a second. You've been around Muhammad Ali. You've been around Sugar Ray Leonard. You've been around some serious athletes.
Yeah.
I think it's fair what you're saying.
Well, it's interesting. I love. Thank you for bringing in boxing. I so admired Ali and Ray Leonard, and I kind of know Ray Leonard, and I really like him a lot. Jerry Rice was better in his sport than they were in theirs, and they were great. Muhammad Ali, the greatest. I'm the greatest. You and I, we talk boxing a lot. He was a great heavyweight champion with certain limitations that he never got over. He could never get away from a left hook. He didn't hit hard enough. So people like Kenny Norton could stay with him for 15 rounds. I'm not sure he really ever beat Kenny Norton, who got knocked out a lot by people who weren't even that good. Jerry Rice had everything. He had absolutely everything. He's the greatest athlete I've ever covered. And I'm happy to say that.
Right. And the one thing about him was people say he fell in the draft because he ran a slow 40-yard dash time. Dad, he was really fast, right?
Well, one time, he used to train on the peninsula with Roger Craig, and Roger Craig was really fast. He was a hurdler. And one time, you used to be able to chat with them. And I was talking to Roger. I said, when you and Jerry Rice do wind sprints, who wins? And Roger Craig said, Jerry. That's like, what are you, nuts? Jerry. So I don't know what happened with his time, but when he went against a national class runner, Jerry was faster, and Roger was happy to admit it.